This book is a book of history that is not valid, no longer valid today. To this 2023. It is irrelevant today. And if you live by that book today, then what you're following is also not relevant.
Do God's words become irrelevant?
See, I don't believe in God.
Right. So that's your problem.
It's not my problem.
It is. I'll tell you why it's your problem.
No.
I think you're being a bit disrespectful.
No.
You're being a bit disrespectful.
You're being ridiculing my intelligence.
I'm simply asking you.
Ask me a straight
that
question.
your inference
of and don't talk about 30 hours, 300. I've already said.
Your inference, if those premises that you're using.
It's no inference. It's directly yes or no.
Sammy, you're really dodging my question, aren't you?
No, you're not allowing me to answer my question.
Sammy, you're talking about Wales now, Sammy.
No. You're talking about creation.
It's frustrating.
You're talking about the
universe. I didn't use the... Yeah, but the universe is not Wales.
Wales live in the universe.
How many billion of years after the universe itself?
In Islam, do you have
relax,
any evidence?
Relax.
So if you provide
relax.
You see, I said to you, we humans don't possess that knowledge or the power.
Right, Sammy, let me help you. It's very important how we structure questions, because when we say Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, India and ISIS, it assumes somehow that there's some similarity or cohesion between these groups. And in reality, the overwhelming opinion is that organizations like ISIS are an extremist organization and they have nothing to do with Islam. Since most of their victims, ISIS's victims, are actually Muslims. Most people that ISIS have killed are Muslims.
You know, the other thing I found
so that's the first thing.
The other thing I found out, you see, I'm just going by what I read, you see. I can't remember the web page, you know. It said in the last 40 years, over 10 million Muslims have died in the hands of fellow Muslims.
Well, when you say fellow Muslims, first of all, 10 million seems like an extraordinarily large number.
That's what I thought.
I'd have to have that number qualified.
But 35, 40 years is a long time.
Yeah, but 10 million seems like a very, very extreme number.
Let me qualify it. I thought the same.
Yeah.
But then they include Darfur, Iran-Iraq war.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous. Iran-Iraq war.
That's a fact.
Yeah, but Iran-Iraq war, anybody with even a rudimentary understanding of that conflict will know that it was geopolitical over land and oil and resources and dominance. And it was a proxy war being fought by America and Russia and other countries. Anyone with any limited knowledge of that subject will know that it was not Islam that was the catalyst of that conflict. So if you, and this is the problem, you see, if you want to analyze things with the spectacle of just because a person identifies as a Muslim, therefore whatever he has done is representative of Islam, then would be a ridiculous argument, because if you then apply that to the West, for example...
I think what I said, and I'm paraphrasing from what I remember reading, you see, it doesn't say anything about religion. It just says the people who died in the hands of another people.
Yes.
I mean, more Christians have died in the hand of Christians.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So that argument, like you say, would go, you see. But what I'm just saying, in terms of just sheer numbers, as far as, let's say, they're not Buddhists, they're not Zoroastrian or Japanese, but just Muslims. All right, they happen to be Iranians and Iraqis, okay? But it doesn't say anything.
What does that establish for you?
Just the numbers of deaths.
No, what does it establish? What does that mean, though?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
That there's a lot of violence.
It means that intrinsically there's a lot of violence in Islam, because 10 million Muslims apparently have died at the hands of supposedly other fellow Muslims. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say wholly, but don't forget to see that Iran is a theocracy.
Have you studied the statistics on number of deaths that have occurred by different religions and different groups?
I did look, because if you go, I mean, you can't go to infinity, okay? You can't go all the way to Mongols or Timur-Lane and, you know, or Huiglo Khan and all that.
I'm not going to say you should do, but even the major groups, have you studied the statistics? Well, did you know Islam actually ranks very low on that statistic? Well, the highest is Christianity. Atheism, no religion, is responsible for more deaths. So Islam actually ranks very low on that.
Where did you get that figure, atheism?
It's a really good statistic, actually, that was done. And so I'll give you an example.
Now look at atheists.
Just even in the last few decades, millions of people have died, civilians.
Last decade, 10 years.
Last few decades.
Few decades,
Yeah?
okay.
Millions of lives. Just the war on terror has killed 4 million innocent lives. Just the war on terror. Innocent.
Which countries? You're looking at Iraq,
Afghanistan, Libya, Somalia, all of these countries. More than 4 million lives have been lost, yes. More than 4 million. So the statistics actually are in our favor when you actually look at the raw data and actually do not support the notion that there's somehow intrinsically...
But that's not a religious war, are you, surely?
What isn't? But,
like Libya.
But the point I'm trying to make to you is humankind has the propensity for violence.
Of course.
Regardless of religion or no religion being there.
I've already said that.
So to suggest...
There's no suggestions.
Well, you did. You suggested that there are 10 million lives that are apparently lost in Muslim hands.
That is just a
Muslims,
statistical figure.
Right.
Okay. That is taken raw.
Yes.
And like I said to you, I was surprised.
Yes.
Until they gave the breakdown of what those figures comprised of.
Right. But the problem with that is that when you quote a statistic, you are clearly establishing some sort of precedence from that, or a conclusion, or an inference from that.
That's just one bit.
Yeah, but otherwise it's...
That's why I
the statistic, the statistic is meaningless.
No, it has got meaning because every life that dies is a wasted life.
That's that's a fallacious argument you just made there.
No, let me finish.
No, it's a fallacious argument.
No, let me finish.
I'll tell you why it's fallacious. Because nobody's
Otherwise
saying that lives are not important here.
No, let me finish. You said, and I agreed with you, that there's always been violence and killings in humanity. As far as history goes.
Yes.
You can take from the Romans, Byzantinians, Ottomans, the Vikings, there's always been killing.
Yes.
And if you collectively include everything, Second World War, I just walked past all those monuments,
right.
Wellington and all that. These guys have got blood dripping off their hands.
Yeah, of course.
So, there's been killing non-stop in this world. Right now, there's deaths going on in Ukraine and places like that. Sudan and all that. So, yes, that's one of the terrible drawbacks of humanity, the greed, the propensity to violence, the military establishment, the military-industrial complex that generates war, just to ensure that their survival, you see. So I'm not mincing those words. And simply to focus on Islamic war, it will be unfair. There I agree with you. But pure figures, like I said, 35 to 40 years, the figures of Islamic death in the hands of Muslims is this.
Yes.
That's all.
No, but you see,
you want to accept that?
No, but the point I'm trying to make to you is a statistic by itself is irrelevant.
Why?
I'm explaining that to you. I'm qualifying my statement.
Okay.
If it doesn't establish something more meaningful than just the figure itself. So just to suggest that this has happened without inferring anything or drawing any conclusions,
you can say anything.
The statistic becomes meaningless. So that's why
somebody says, there's a tree there.
No, but I'm asking you, what do you infer or suggest as a consequence of quoting those statistics to me? What is the meaning behind it that you wish to establish? Okay. Because otherwise it's just a statistic. Because let me ask you a question. If Islam, indeed, as I've argued with you, ranks very low on the killing that's representative of different groups, including atheists, then the statistic actually established that Islam actually intrinsically is less violent, or Muslims are less violent than other groups. That's what it establishes, you see.
What I said to you...
And so my argument to you is that that's what these statistics seem to show.
I hate the word argument. I'm not arguing with you.
Well, when I say argument, I don't mean an argument. But it's a figure of speech.
Okay.
An argument can be a discussion.
If I said to you, okay, I wholeheartedly endorse what you just said to me. Let's move on, okay?
Yes.
And I said, okay, those 10 million Muslims who died in the 40 years or 35 years, let's just bury them and just move on, okay?
I'm not saying bury them. I'm saying look at it in the context of the overall picture, which then gives you a more reasonable grasp of reality. Because to look at individual statistics upon their own, without making that wider comparison, will give you a very skewed understanding of a particular subject.
Of course, I said you cannot go all the way back to Genghis Khan and start.
I'm not saying you should do that.
Yeah.
I'm saying even if you look at the last century.
You have to, take a snapshot.
Yes.
And within living memory, like I said,
I agree.
30, 40 years.
I agree.
Yeah. So, go back to what you started by saying, is Islam, and I've got lots of questions. Like I said to you, I was here 2 weeks ago, And
can I deal with your question of apostasy? Because you mentioned that if somebody leaves Islam, they're killed, right? So the ruling of apostasy is more comparative to desertion, or not desertion, rather, sorry, of...
betrayal, you mean?
What's the word I'm looking
disloyalty.
for? No, it's not disloyalty. It's actually treason. It's considered a form of treason. And the law of treason, even in the United States of America, for example, carries the capital punishment. In England, we can once again bring that law into effect at times of war, for example, if somebody does a treasonous act. Obviously, the reason why we have such a strict punishment for something like this is because it generally can be very harmful to the safety and security and stability of a nation. Now, now let me just explain to you and qualify that. In Islam, if you as a Muslim decided not to pray, not to fast, not to believe in God, and went along your merry ways to lead your life away from Islam, the government nor the people have any right to impose upon you any form of a punishment. If, however, you come out into the public arena and you openly apostatize, this is now seen as a form of going against the state, a treasonous act which destabilizes society and potentially acts as a means for others to also fall into disbelief. And for us, the greatest harm for an individual is to end in the hellfire. So it's also a form of protection for others that they're not dragged into. Because a person may be very eloquent, they may be very persuasive.
Okay, can I come in?
And so as a consequence, it prevents that from happening. But what you do in the private setting, whether and the Quran says this, believe or disbelieve, it gives you the choice.
Where does it say?
In the Quran.
Where?
La ikraha fi din. There is no compulsion in religion.
What number is that?
We can find the exact verse for you. It's in Surah
225.
Surah Baqarah, I think.
256.
The second surah.
Yeah.
It's about halfway through.
Yeah, halfway through. Yeah. So it clearly says there is no compulsion in religion.
Okay.
This verse was revealed when in Medina, when the Arabs had a custom.
All right, I'd like to come in, when you're finished.
No problem.
I don't
Okay, why don't you come in?
Yeah, okay. Now, if this says in the Quran, you said, and what surah was it? It says where, it is a treason?
I'm not saying it says it in a surah that it's treason. I'm saying that it's seen as an act of treason.
Yeah. What number is that?
I didn't say it was in the Quran in a surah specifically as treason. I didn't say that to you.
No?
No.
It's not that?
Did I say that to you? Why are you assuming that it is?
No, because I saw it. So I'm asking.
Where does it say that it's considered to be treason?
I'm trying to remember it. You see, I saw it.
I don't remember a specific verse claiming that it's treason.
Oh, I hope I can remember it.
But please make your point, though. Make your point.
Now, what you're saying in Surah 2 to whatever, that there's no
compulsion in religion.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then you're saying in the other Surah, if you turn against, then the state will...
No, he said either believe or disbelieve.
When you talk, I'll listen.
No, but I'm saying that it doesn't say that. What you're saying, it doesn't say.
Yeah. Can you please let me talk?
Yeah.
And then I'll let you talk.
Please, go ahead.
And in the other surah, it says that if you turn against, or what you use the word, treasonous, I understand what you mean, then the state will say you are a danger to us.
Where does it say that in the Quran? Sorry.
I don't know, so I'm asking you.
Well, I don't know of a verse that says this is treason and you've turned against a state.
No, the word treason was, you brought it out just now.
Yes.
I said disloyalty, that you leave Islam and turn your back or whatever. That's it, turn your back. That's the word, okay? That's the word I remember now. That you should be put to death, you see. Something like that.
Where does it say? If you quote me the verse, I can refer to the
There's no
Quran.
verse like
Yeah, that would be handy if you could do that.
Can you remember the verse?
that. What you just said now, there's no verse like that.
No?
So there's a category, you're making a category error.
No. I read it. I just can't remember it. Anyway, where was I? So in the States today, Saudi Arabia, I used the word Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and ISIS-controlled areas.
Again, you've brought ISIS with the same group, haven't you?
Let me finish.
Yeah,
I said those areas,
yeah,
or those states,
yeah,
if you are Muslim and you left,
yeah.
you'll be sentenced to death.
But again, you've made a fallacious argument, I would say.
No,
Can you name one where that's
Yes,
happened in the last
right,
200
right.
years?
Can I talk to him?
Yeah.
I can't talk to two people.
that's
here.
fine. No.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, again, and I feel that you're perhaps doing it deliberately now because I've corrected you twice on this. Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and ISIS are polar opposites when it comes to Islamic learning, teaching, and practicing their religion.
It's like saying the Tamil Tigers are Hindus.
It's like saying that, exactly. It's like saying the Tamil Tigers are Hindus, or the Hindutva are actually representatives of Hinduism.
Represent this.
And I would say the Hindutva are not representative of mainstream Hinduism.
Let's stick to
No.
Islam.
The reason why I'm giving you those examples is because I'm taking it. I'm from Indian origin. Are you yourself from Indian origin?
My parents are.
And my parents as well, right? So we're coming from the same sort of historical baggage and background. And similarly, I wouldn't say the Ku Klux Klan and Christian organizations are responsible for this. Why I wouldn't do that is because I believe that's a very unfair and undignified way of comparing two groups
Let's stick to
that are
Islam.
completely different.
Let's stick
No,
to
the
Islam.
reason why I'm giving you those examples...
You're wasting your effort.
No,
Yeah.
because these analogies help us to understand...
doesn't help me.
It should do, because it helps us to understand how we're making a fallacious argument or making a false comparison.
It's not, because if Islam has to stand its test or whatever, these are the bridges you need to cross.
So do you think ISIS and Saudi Arabia are synonymous?
I never said that.
So why raise them together?
Because this is where, if you were unfortunate to leave Islam and you're caught, you face problems.
But you're comparing the two as if somehow they're alike.
No, they're just there. I'm not comparing them.
Sorry, I don't mean to butt in, but
That's okay.
My brother, if you want to talk about Muslims,
Yeah, exactly.
we can talk about Muslims.
That's right.
If you want to talk about Islam, that's something totally different. Yeah? One's a philosophy, one's a practice.
I can't talk to three people.
Anyway,
right?
look, the point that I'm trying to make to you is let's have a meaningful discussion, but let's have it with balance and fairness. I would not use the Ku Klux Klan and mainstream Christianity as somehow synonymous.
Or Hindutva.
Who are violently oppressing and murdering and killing Muslims and lynching them.
That's not
I
true.
would, the Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, most of the international body
Muslims are killed by Hindutva?
would disagree with you, and they would actually agree with me. Now, you could argue they're all wrong, and that you're right, and only the Hindutva are right. But I think the vast majority of the world firsthand can see what's happening. But regardless, I would not compare extremist groups that clearly are not representative of that religion and somehow make them representative, because this is not a very nice way to have a discussion, I think. Just like the IRA are not Christian, by their practice or their beliefs. Just because they call themselves Christian or wear a cross does not make them representatives of Christianity. Similarly, ISIS have been denounced by Muslims
Do you have a Quran
around the world. We have a Quran, yes.
Let me look, this is
No
bothering
problem.
me.
There's one in my bag there, Imran.
It was, I've just remembered, 465, something like that.
Anyway, so my example to you stands.
Can I touch it?
Yeah, of course you can.
Look out, watch out.
No. Nothing to look out for. Nothing to watch out for.
He's going to butt in
He'll butt in only to himself, by himself.
No.
He won't be butting into my conversation.
Well, I was just curious.
I explained it.
Yeah, I only came first because I wanted to hear what you were saying. That's all.
Just give me 1 minute.
No problem. Take your time.
Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 215 to 245. Fighting is prescribed for Muslims.
Okay, and
No, without.
So fighting is
Don't engage. Don't engage. Because without context, it's called a con.
Okay, please give me
So that's the issue.
self-defense is permissible.
Surah 2 Al-Baqarah, Ayah 244. Fight in the way of Allah. What does that mean?
What do the Crusades? What do the Crusades mean? What do the Crusades mean? How many lives were lost in the Crusades? Just don't even go down there. Don't even go down there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remembered now. Women.
Let me get my glasses.
Have you go? What's the goal here? The goal here is trying to build this. He's bringing up something about he's trying to link ISIS to have that conversation.
It's always
He's
that
a Christian. He's a Christian.
I remember. Thank you.
My age? I've got my glasses. Thanks, honey.
You know what? Maybe it's worthwhile explaining to
Let me have a look at the verse. Yes, quoting. Which one is
I
it?
think it's this one, you know.
Which one? 89? Okay.
Maybe it's a good idea to remind them of that.
They wish you
It's
would
not
disbelieve
different.
as they have disbelieved, so you may all be alike. So do not take cause of God, but if they turn away, then seize them and kill them wherever you find them, and do not take any of them allies or helpers. Okay, you know what this verse is referring to?
That's what
I'm asking you. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing is very, very important.
So what was the verse?
Seize them and kill them wherever you find them.
489.
Seize them and kill them wherever you find them. So the context of the verse is a treaty between the Muslims and the pagans, which the pagans broke several times. And so eventually, after years of persecution, the order came to fight them. But then the verse goes on.
Did you read the verse that goes on?
The verse that goes
I think it's
on,
worth reading the verse.
yeah, the verse that goes on is very, very important because it gives you the context about what's happening here.
I'll read it for you.
Yeah, please.
Except those who are allies of people you are bound to with a treaty or who wholeheartedly oppose to fighting either you or their own people. If God will, he would have empowered them to fight you. So if they refrain from fighting you and offer you peace, then God does not permit you to harm them.
Okay. Can I
You
come
will
in
find
now?
others
Hold on a
who wish
second.
to be safe from you and their people, yet they cannot resist the temptation for disbelief or hostility. If they do not keep away, offer you peace, or refrain from attacking you, then seize them and kill them where you find them. He has given you full permission over such people.
Right.
Such specification. Such
Now,
people.
Can I come in, or do you want to stop?
well, you wanted me to first elaborate on the verse, and I think the brother has just read the verse. But what it clearly shows is it's talking not a general rule for all of mankind. It's specific to certain people that are fighting the Muslims, and it mentions the word treaty. They had an agreement that we won't attack you, that we won't fight you.
What agreement was that?
Well, this was at the time of the Prophet ﷺ in Mecca when he had the treaty with the pagans, and the pagans were breaking the treaty over and over again. And eventually the order came, or was it in Medina, perhaps I'm mistaken.
No, it's not in the Quran. You're making
So,
things up as you're going along.
well,
That's not the context.
just relax for a second.
No, what
Just
is
relax,
not there
just
in the
relax,
Quran?
just relax, just relax, just relax.
No, there's no.
Now,
You can't just lie.
the verse that came after, can you just please stay out of the conversation? Yes, because the gentleman would prefer to have a conversation with me. That's why Imran stopped interfering. That's why this brother stopped interfering, because the brother would like to have a conversation only with me. So you're not welcome. Thank you very much.
Okay, at the end of this, if you can clarify.
At the end, I will decide if whether I want to talk to you or not. Okay.
Because clearly in the
Now,
Quran,
the
we find a
subsequent
mandate
verse is very crucial to understanding. If they stop fighting you, then God does not allow you to fight them. Stop fighting them as well.
Like to come in now?
Of course, not yet. I haven't finished. So clearly, the order is being given to those who are attacking and killing the Muslims, and the order is given that now you are permitted to fight them back. But if they stop fighting you, then you must stop as well. I would say this is the most noblest of things that any courageous people can do, which is to defend their right to exist, but they do not become the persecutors or the oppressors themselves, and they desist fighting when the others have desisted, when they have stopped. So this is a beautiful explanation of what happened.
Now I'd like to tell you. Okay. You mentioned the treaty 3 times.
Yes.
Without actually saying what treaty.
Okay.
No, I'm going to talk.
Yes,
now.
yes.
You listen. Now, if this happened, and you said during the time of your prophet, which is 1600 years ago, 1400 years, yeah, 1400 years ago. If this book relates to an event that happened 1400 years ago,
Yes.
then this book is irrelevant today. It's a book of history.
Okay.
That happened 1400 years ago in the deserts of the Hejaz, when the Muslims, early Muslims, were fighting the pagans, as you said your words, okay? And they breached the treaty, and this is why this particular ayat says that wherever you find them, you kill them, okay? That should not happen now, isn't it?
What should not happen now? What should not happen now?
Killing and all that.
Of course, if somebody fights you, you're permitted to fight back, yes.
Let me finish. Now,
But you just asked me a question. Asked me a question.
Brother,
You said, isn't it? And I'm trying to answer.
all right,
and then you're saying, don't answer it. So you make your mind up. Do you want me to answer the question or not answer the question?
Now, that means this book is a book of history that is not valid, no longer valid today. To this 2023. It is irrelevant today. And if you live by that book today, then what you're following is also not relevant.
Do God's words become irrelevant?
See, I don't believe in God.
Right. So that's your problem.
It's not my problem.
It is. I'll tell you why it's your problem. Because the spectacles through which we see an event often have a huge influence on how we interpret that event. So from your perspective, it's irrelevant because you see it as just words of men or people, and it has no significance to you because you don't believe in a creator. So I don't expect you to come up with a different conclusion or take on the Quran. Whereas I believe, have used my faculties of reason to establish objectively that this book claims to be from the Creator, claims to be a miracle, and is indeed preserved for that 14 centuries. And therefore, for me, those words never become irrelevant because they're linked to the Creator. So your problem, your issue is, and that's perhaps what we should talk about first, is why you don't believe in a creator. That's the more fundamental issue and question.
How are you judging?
And how are you making that conclusion?
Let me come. You see the gentleman there with the white cap, orange top? I was listening to him as he was talking to somebody and being recorded, you know? And he talked about paradise and Jinnah and hellfire in some detail. Seventh heaven. I listened to everything. Now, that's the promise Muslims are being given, yes?
We're weaving away from the core subject and
Yes,
we're moving the
no.
goalposts
Okay.
to the discussion.
The reason
My point to you,
why I mentioned...
look, brother, what's your name, sorry?
You call me Sami.
Zami Abbas, yeah? Nice to meet you. Look, Zami.
Sami.
Sami. Sami. Fundamentally, our perspective on everything changes if God indeed exists and there is revelation from God. The way that we see everything changes. And if we deny that concept of God being there and revelation coming from God, again, our perspective changes completely. So what I would say to you, what I would humbly say to you is, in order to establish what is true and what is not true, what is right and what is wrong, we need to first establish whether God exists or he doesn't exist. Because look, if he doesn't exist, you can question everything. Well, fasting, you're just starving yourself. Angels, that's nonsense. I've never seen any angels. You know, it never ends. But the point that I'm trying to make to you, why do you not believe in a God? That's what I would like to ask you.
Can I come in?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, there's something called tangible, all right? Now, somebody might say, you cannot see fear.
Yes.
You cannot see hunger. You cannot see your conscience.
Yes.
You cannot see the air that you breathe.
Yes.
3 minutes lacking of air, you're dead.
Yes.
30 hours of no God.
Yes.
You're still alive.
30 hours of no God.
No, I'm a good example.
Yeah.
I don't believe in God.
Okay.
All right. Who created you? You said.
Okay, hold on a second. You said something there. You not believing in God, does that change the reality of whether God exists or he doesn't exist?
To me personally, I can't talk for all
No,
these people
I'm asking
here.
you a question.
No, I'm answering you.
Right.
To all these people who might believe in God, that is their right.
No, Sami, you're not answering my question.
I'm answering. If
No,
you,
you're not.
If you're
Because you
patient-
said there's no 30 hours of no God and you're still alive.
No, let me answer.
I think that's a fallacious argument.
No.
And I'll tell you why it's
Let me
fallacious.
finish answering, please, Abbas.
Well, please do try to answer it because you're not answering at the
No,
moment.
you can't. You cannot interrupt me and then say you're not answering me.
Well, because you're completely
No,
going on a
no,
tangent.
I will answer it the way I want to.
Okay, please go ahead. Go and answer it the way you want to answer
Yes.
it. Go ahead.
Now, if I say I use the word 30 hours, I could use 300 hours.
Yes.
Okay, 30 months, 30 years.
Yes.
If I say I believe in decency, I didn't know you existed in this world, half an hour ago. Here I am 1 meter away. I'm breathing the same air as you. You believe in God and I don't.
Yes.
Where did that air come from? You say, oh, my God created it. I'm saying, no, nature created it. You're benefiting. All these people are
Sami, before we get to that.
Let me finish, please. Don't interrupt. I'm saying you are entitled. You're free. You have a right to believe what you want. You want to believe in a God that walks on its head? Good. You want to believe a God that looks like an elephant? Good. That's your right. We shouldn't be going around telling you are wrong and I'm right. You must believe what I believe. Otherwise, you are in trouble. That's what you do.
Okay, so now what you've done is you've now raised many points.
Yes.
It's a bit of, I would say it's like shotgunning. And that's not a sensible way to have a discussion. You raised a point, 30 hours without God, I'm still here. I asked you a very specific question that you didn't answer, and you sidetracked.
No.
You did, because I asked you a very specific question. You believing or not believing in God, does it change the reality of whether God exists or he doesn't exist?
To me, no.
It doesn't change the reality.
No.
Okay, so God could exist despite you feeling that God doesn't exist. Rationally.
Remember I said it is in the mind
No.
of the people.
You're not.
That's how I answered it.
It's a logical argument I pose to you.
Yeah.
And the answer
Listen,
to that
Abbas,
is
you cannot be selective of
Sami.
answers that I give.
Sami.
Yeah, you can't choose
Sami,
and pick.
the correct answer would be, and the logical answer would be, that the reality of something doesn't change whether you accept it or don't accept it.
I've already answered that.
Right. So therefore, it's a false argument, a false comparison to say that if God doesn't exist for 30 hours for you, that you're still here. In my point of view, that reality doesn't change whether you believe in God or don't believe in God. So that reasoning is faulty, therefore.
It's up to you. It doesn't bother me.
No, you don't. You're missing the point. The reason why it's faulty is because that reality hasn't changed. You're making an assumption that God doesn't exist for 30 hours and you're still here.
You are assuming there is a God. You are assuming. You describe Jannah to me. Please describe.
Well, before we go
paradise.
to Jannah,
no, let me ask you now directly.
No, but before we go to
Have
Jannah,
you-
I want to deal with this point
This
here.
gentleman there described Jannah so clearly.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask him, have you seen paradise?
Sami, let's deal with what we're talking about.
Okay, go on.
You said 30 hours without God, and I'm still here. That's an underlying assumption you've just made, that there is no God as a reality, and I am still here.
Yes.
I'm saying that's a false assumption.
So what?
And it's illogical.
Yes, up to you. You can
So
say anything
it's
you
not.
want.
So it's what I'm saying by that is therefore it's not an argument.
It's a discussion from the beginning. I said we are not arguing.
But it's not a
we are
logical
discuss-
premises. That's what I'm saying. It's not a logical.
Why is it
In
not
other words,
logical?
because it doesn't.
Why?
It doesn't result in a conclusion.
Why you want a conclusion? If it's a
Sami,
discussion,
I know, but
you can go in both directions.
Sami,
saying you believe what you want, and I will take what I believe with me. I want. Okay. There's no imposing. I say,
I'm not
you
imposing
must
anything.
Believe what I
Sami,
believe.
But,
That's what you're
but-
saying.
but to have a discussion,
It's not. Yes.
to have a discussion,
Yes.
it's only fruitful
Yes.
if both of us are seeking truth, isn't it?
No, I'm just seeking what is being sold here as truth.
Right.
I'm trying to blow a hole in it.
Yeah,
but
but
this gentleman is
right,
trying to
because
do.
you believe it's untrue, right?
Of course.
Okay, and I believe it's true, correct?
You're entitled to
Okay,
believe what
I
you want.
understand.
Yes.
But our discussion, therefore, should be that if we are reasonable human beings, wishing to follow that which is true and not be deceived, okay? And you're coming to me, I would hope, with a with an air of, let's say, sincerity, as I am with you, you would wish for me not to be dealing in what you might perceive to be mumbo jumbo and restricting me to be in a certain way, and you'd want me to be free from these things. And similarly, I would want good for you as well by following the teachings of Islam. But what I'm trying to say to you is, to have a sincere discussion, there has to be meaning behind it. What is the purpose of us discussing? Is it merely to have is it merely to have a tussle?
No,
and our egos?
This is not an argument. It's nothing but ego. This is a discussion.
Right.
A decent,
right.
Discussion, okay? Built on respect and honor.
Right.
Okay? I'm not going to sort of say you're rubbish or whatever. No. All I'm going to give you is my view, okay? And why it's there, how
So do you agree that the 30 hours of God not being there from your perception...
Make it 300 hours.
300 hours. Yeah. Doesn't change the reality of whether God exists and He's still providing for you or not providing for you. That doesn't change that reality.
I've already said it 3 times now.
Right, what's that? What did you say?
I said there's no God.
No, you're not hearing my question. I'm saying the inference from that statement... Not at all.
Just put a straight question.
I'm being very specific.
And I'll give you a straight answer.
I'm being very specific.
You've asked me, do I believe in God? I've said
I didn't say that to you. I didn't ask you that.
Well, tell me again now.
I said to you to say 30 hours or 300 hours of no God and I am still here.
Yeah.
It assumes, as with the certainty, that for those 300 hours there was no God.
Make it 3 million hours.
It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. The time is irrelevant.
Yeah. So
the time is irrelevant.
The question?
No, you haven't.
You've asked me.
No.
No. Then you're asking something impossible.
Maybe I'm not.
You're asking a bulldozer.
Maybe I'm not clarifying my question. Maybe I'm not clarifying.
Ask me a straight question.
Straight question is.
Don't give me dumb answers. Dumb questions.
Okay. I think you're being a bit disrespectful.
No.
You're being a bit disrespectful.
You're being ridiculing my intelligence.
I'm simply asking you.
Ask me a straight question.
Your inference of
and don't talk about 30 hours. I've already said.
Your inference, if those premises that you're using...
no inference, it's directly yes or no. I said there's no God.
Phrase this question?
Maybe you can phrase it better.
So what he's saying is that whether or not you believe in something, does that have an impact on whether it actually exists?
That's what I'm asking here.
So for example, I'll give an example.
Any sensible person listening here will know what I'm saying. There's no God.
I'll give you an example. I'll give an example for him.
You don't need examples.
So is there a microphone here?
Yeah.
Whether you believe in the microphone being there or not, does it make a difference to whether or not the microphone is there?
That's the question being asked. Right?
It's not a silly question.
A mic is a scientific, technological thing that works with electricity and sound
It's irrelevant how it works.
Yeah. What are you trying to compare? God and electricity?
The fact that it exists.
Your God and electricity?
The fact that it exists.
There is evidence for God.
The fact that it exists.
All right.
The point.
You got a partner there.
No, not at all. No. I might have partners here. He's definitely not a partner. I would definitely say no to that.
Three-way discussion right now.
I think, brother Sami, the issue that we're trying to raise with you is the acceptance of a notion does not change the reality of whether it exists or it doesn't exist. If I don't believe Australia exists, it exists regardless of whether I believe it or don't believe it. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Therefore, to argue that...
I know exactly what...
Right. So I'm saying that's a false analogy and a false argument.
According to you.
And one thing does not deductively lead to a premise.
According to you, because
in Islam, what's the evidence for the existence?
Let's relax, dude. Relax.
Islam is
relax. Lots of evidence. Relax.
What is the evidence?
The fact that you're breathing now is the evidence.
That's not evidence.
Anyway, so please.
Like what Sami was saying.
Sami. Anyway, look, Sami, my point to you, you said you're a scientific man, right? You like to deal with scientific arguments, yes?
We are all scientific people.
Okay.
We oxygen 1 minute and then we throw out carbon dioxide.
Yes.
We eat one side and we, excrete the other side.
Yes.
If you touch here, you feel because there are nerves there.
Yes.
And that goes all the way to your brain.
Yes.
You've got olfactory nerves, you've got auditory nerves.
Yes.
You've got all sorts of things. You don't recognize.
So you're a very scientific man. You're interested in science. Fine. So let me ask you a fundamental question of existence. Before we get to Quran, before we get to even discussing some of the issues that you're talking about, fighting, etc., etc., the very existence of everything, where do you think this comes from?
Okay, all right.
The universe.
Okay, take the lineage of, say, the Abrahamic faith.
Forget
right?
Abraham.
All right,
The
Abraham.
universe itself, where does it
Okay.
come from?
Okay, when was Abraham born?
Where does the universe come from?
Let's start with Abraham.
This is before
aspect.
Abraham, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where does the universe come from?
Okay, recently, we got the telescopes that went up, okay?
Yes.
And they have sort of taken pictures that were never there before.
James Webb,
Yeah, Webb and all that.
Yeah.
And they've revealed galaxies after
Yes.
galaxies,
Yes.
okay?
Billions and
Now,
billions.
there's
of them.
so many sort of probes that gone into Mars and so forth, and they're sending back sort of, data and
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
Now, we, as a human being,
Yes.
like I said to you, 40 minutes ago, I didn't know you existed in this world.
Yes.
And now I'm standing just 1 meter away from
Yes.
you.
Having a lovely
talking to you.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not fighting
No,
you.
no, not at all.
Yeah. And I've shook your hand.
I'd be very scared if you did.
No.
You look like a
I'm
very
sure-
strong man,
I'm
Sammy.
sure your blood is like A, B, or O, whatever, positive.
Actually, I don't have a
negative.
clue what my blood
Yeah,
group is.
there
That's
you
probably
are.
a bad thing.
There
But
you
go
are.
on.
See? So if you collapse now through a heart attack or whatever, I'll try and save you.
Well, I'll go to him. He's a doctor.
Because
I don't know if you are a doctor. Are you a doctor? Okay, fine.
We have humanity
Yes,
in us. Okay?
yes.
So this is what binds us.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about the world, right?
Yes.
We look at a tree and somebody say, that tree is not alive. But try cutting it and leaving the branches lying there. Go there after 2 days. They all look dead
Yes.
because they were alive
Yes.
at one time.
Yes.
You look at the earthworm. The bird eats your earthworm, okay? Another bird comes and eats that bird. So we have a life cycle like that. I don't know about you, Abbas, but you obviously eat meat, yes?
Oh, yes. I love meat.
How many chickens have you eaten in your life?
I couldn't tell you.
There you are.
Yes.
See? Maybe hundreds? No.
Probably more, I'd say. Yeah.
Maybe.
I
all
do
right.
like chicken.
Let's say 10 chickens died
I'm not really
for
a
you.
not red meat eater, actually. More chickens, actually.
All right. Let's say vegetables,
Yes.
okay? Potatoes,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
They died for you
Yes.
so that you can live.
Yes.
You understand? I know you have an entire different belief system. When you
Yes.
die, you don't cremate yourselves because you believe in recreation,
Well,
resurrection.
Resurrection, yeah.
Resurrection.
Yeah.
And I ask you, when is it? You won't know. And even if your bones turn to dust,
Yes.
100, 200 years later, and you're buried, say, with 200 people in a one, say, burial ground, and all your bones are dusted, but you believe your God will make you up.
Yeah, because the Quran actually says something very beautiful. That the people ask, how will we be resurrected when we've turned to dust?
Yeah.
And Allah
So
says,
you
and
believe-
Allah says that we will resurrect you
Yeah.
even to the tips of your fingers.
Yes.
Allah says, yes.
So you see, you believe
Yes,
in that
we
system.
do.
I can't believe in that.
No.
See, now, and then from your resurrection, you'll be 33 years old. Is that true?
Sammy, before we look,
No, I'm just trying to answer that question.
Well, no, you're not really answering the question.
All right.
I asked you about where and how do you explain this universe, and you've gone into the tree.
I'm going
and chopping
into
of
your
the tree.
tangent, you see,
well,
because-
no, but I'm just saying it's irrelevant to the question I asked you.
Okay, let me say. All
I
right.
said to you the beginning of everything, the
Yes.
universe.
Yes.
What's your explanation of how this has come
I think
about?
we were evolved.
The universe I'm talking about, not the people, not animals.
All
Before
right.
anything, the universe
I'm
itself.
no great scientist. It took about just 150 years ago before we even sort of discovered there was gravity in this world.
Forget
If you
gravity.
got-
I'm
No,
talking
no,
about the
that's-
universe itself. Where did it come from?
Well, it's part of the answer I'm trying to give you.
Well,
no,
okay.
if you had, you see, there are things called supernovas and things like
Yes.
Yeah, you know all that.
Yes.
Okay? And how these black stars, when they collapse,
Yes.
that they disappear and all that.
Yes.
So there's a phenomena going on right now out there.
Yes.
In the wider
Where
galaxy.
did it come from?
Yeah.
Where did it all
So-
come from?
Let me finish. So if you look at the solar system,
Yes.
in the Quran, doesn't it say that the sun rises?
Sammy, I'm going to hold you to the question I've asked you, which you're not answering.
Well, to you, I'm not
Where
answering.
did the
But I
universe
think all
come
these
from?
people listening,
No, Sammy.
where did the world come from?
No, I didn't say world. Did I use the word world?
The universe.
Where did the universe come
Okay,
from?
let me ask you the second question.
Yes.
Let me ask you.
Yes.
You tell me how many universes are out there. Do you know, Mr. Clever?
Sammy, I'm asking you the question
No, I'm answering you.
because you're saying
Yes.
that you don't believe in a creator.
No, I'm
You
saying
believe-
I don't know because we are not smart enough.
Right.
I said earlier 150 years ago,
Yes.
somebody said, oh, apple
Okay.
dropped on
So
my
what
head.
you're saying is you don't know, right?
No, wait. Because our humanity, the body, okay, I don't know what your weight is, sir, but say 140 pounds.
120 kilos, maybe?
Within that
Maybe 130. Maybe
you've got
130.
a brain, okay?
Yeah, maybe.
Some
maybe.
animals are big. The whale has got a small brain.
Yes.
We humans have got a sizable brain.
Sammy, you're really dodging my question, aren't you?
No, you're not allowing me to answer my question.
Sammy, you're talking about whales now, Sammy.
No. You're talking about creation.
It's frustrating.
You're talking about
I
the
didn't
universe.
I didn't use the... Yeah, but the universe is not whales.
The whales live in the universe.
How many billions of years after the universe itself?
In Islam, do you have
Relax,
any
dude.
evidence?
Relax.
So if you provide
Relax.
that, it will really help
You see, I said to you, we humans don't possess that knowledge or the power.
Right, Sammy, let me help you.
Okay, no, let me answer you.
Well, I don't think you are, Sammy, to be fair.
Remember, I said to you, when
We've
you talk,
spoken about trees and whales and...
When you talk, I listen. When I talk, I want you to listen. I don't want you to interrupt me.
I understand, but I want you to please answer the question.
Let me finish. Because you are very selective about what you're asking and you cherry pick what I answer. You shouldn't.
But Sammy, you're talking about everything.
Of course.
I'm talking about the curtains, and you're talking about the driveway, the lights on the street.
They all have opinions about where they came from. They have an opinion about where they... If I ask them, give me how the world, our solar system is arranged, which is the planet that's the furthest, most people don't know. And yet they've got access to books. Fantastic
Sammy, what's that got to
access
do with what I've asked you?